Our planet is over 4.5 billion years old, and throughout its history, it has been home to some of the most spectacular, terrifying, and bizarre creatures imaginable. However, survival on Earth is never guaranteed. In fact, scientists estimate that 99% of all species that have ever lived on this planet are now completely extinct. Some were wiped out by massive asteroids, others by shifting climates, and some by the arrival of humans. Today, we are turning back the clock to look at 8 of the most incredible animals that no longer exist, and trust me, you will be glad some of these are gone. 1. The Tyrannosaurus rex, the king of dinosaurs. When we talk about extinct animals, it is impossible not to start with the undisputed king, the Tyrannosaurus rex, roaming the earth around 68 million years ago. The T-Rex was a biological nightmare for anything standing in its way, measuring up to 40 feet long and weighing around 8 tons. This massive theropod was the ultimate apex predator of its era. Its jaws were lined with massive, serrated teeth the size of bananas, capable of delivering a bite force of 8,000 pounds. This meant a T-Rex could easily crush through solid bone. Despite its famously short arms, the T-Rex was a highly intelligent and terrifyingly efficient hunter. However, its reign was cut short 66 million years ago, when a massive asteroid struck the Earth, wiping out the T-Rex and all non-avian dinosaurs in a global fiery catastrophe. 2. Titanoboa, the monster snake. Shortly after the dinosaurs were wiped out, nature created a new kind of monster. Deep in the prehistoric jungles of South America lived the Titanoboa, the largest snake to ever exist on Earth. This terrifying reptile grew up to 42 feet long and weighed over 2,500 pounds. To put that into perspective, it was longer than a standard school bus and thicker than a human doorway. Moving through the ancient jungle, it did not move with panic or fear. It slithered with calm, terrifying confidence, knowing nothing could challenge it. It was a constrictor, meaning it did not use venom. Instead, it stalked the muddy rivers and crushed giant, prehistoric crocodiles and massive turtles with a constriction force equal to the weight of the Brooklyn Bridge. Titanoboa eventually died out as the Earth's global temperatures cooled down, making the climate too cold for a cold-blooded reptile of that massive size to survive. 3. Megalodon, the apex of the oceans. While the Titanoboa ruled the swamps, the prehistoric oceans belonged to the Megalodon, existing roughly 23 million to 3.6 million years ago. The Megalodon was the largest shark in Earth's history, reaching lengths of up to 60 feet. It was nearly 3 times the size of today's great white shark. Its name literally translates to big tooth, and for good reason. Its teeth were the size of a human hand. The Megalodon sat at the absolute top of the marine food chain, actively hunting giant whales by biting off their fins to immobilize them. But despite its massive power, the Megalodon could not survive global climate change. As the oceans cooled and sea levels dropped, their favorite warm water breeding grounds disappeared, and their massive food sources migrated to freezing waters where the Megalodon simply could not follow. 4. The Woolly Mammoth, the Ice Age giant. Fast forward to the Pleistocene epoch, commonly known as the Ice Age, and we meet the Woolly Mammoth. These magnificent giants were close relatives to modern-day elephants, but they were perfectly engineered to survive freezing Arctic temperatures. Covered in a thick coat of long brown hair and armed with massive, curved tusks that could reach up to 15 feet in length, the mammoth was a true icon of the frozen tundra. They used their massive tusks to clear away deep snow to find vegetation underneath. Interestingly, woolly mammoths shared the earth with early humans, who frequently hunted them for their meat, bones, and thick fur to survive the brutal winters. A combination of a rapidly warming climate and heavy human hunting eventually drove these majestic giants into total extinction about 4,000 years ago. Quick pause. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button to support the channel. Alright, let's jump back in. 5. Smilodon, the Saber-Toothed Cat. Sharing the icy landscapes of the Americas with the woolly mammoth was the Smilodon, famously known as the Saber-Toothed Tiger. Despite its nickname, it wasn't actually closely related to modern tigers. The Smilodon was a heavily built muscular predator, designed for explosive power rather than long-distance running. It stalked the ancient forests with calm, calculated movements, never showing fear in its environment. Its most iconic feature was its massive upper canine teeth, which could grow up to 11 inches long. When hunting, the Smilodon would rely on stealth, ambushing its prey and using its immense upper body strength to wrestle large herbivores to the ground before delivering a fatal surgical bite to the neck. Much like the mammoth, their extinction around 10,000 years ago is heavily linked to the disappearance of their large prey and the expansion of early human hunters. 6. The terror bird, the apex avian predator. After the dinosaurs vanished, birds didn't just take to the skies, some stayed on the ground and became absolute nightmares. Enter the terror birds, a family of apex predators that dominated South America for millions of years. Standing up to 10 feet tall, these flightless giants moved with absolute authority across the plains. They had massive, eagle-like beaks designed to strike downwards with devastating force, capable of shattering the bones of their prey instantly. Because they had no natural predators for a long time, they ruled their environment without any hesitation or fear. Eventually, as the continent shifted and new mammalian predators entered their territory, the terror birds couldn't compete for food and slowly faded into extinction. 7. The dodo bird, the victim of isolation. Not all extinct animals were massive, terrifying predators. Some were simply victims of circumstance, like the famous dodo bird. The dodo was a flightless bird entirely, unique to the small island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean. Because it lived on an isolated island with absolutely zero natural predators, the dodo completely lost the ability to fly and never developed a fear of danger. For thousands of years, they lived peacefully on the forest floor. However, in the 17th century, European sailors discovered the island. Because the birds were completely fearless, they were incredibly easy to catch. Furthermore, the sailors brought along dogs, pigs, and rats, which devastated the dodo's ground-level nests. Within less than a century of human discovery, the dodo was entirely wiped off the face of the earth. 8. The Tasmanian Tiger, the lost Marsupial. Finally, we come to a much more recent tragedy, the thylacine, commonly known as the Tasmanian Tiger. Despite its dog-like appearance and tiger-like stripes, this incredible animal was actually a marsupial, meaning it carried its young in a pouch just like a kangaroo. Native to Australia and Tasmania, the thylacine was an apex predator that hunted quietly in the brush. Unfortunately, when European settlers arrived in Tasmania in the 1800s, they wrongly blamed the thylacine for killing their sheep. This led to massive government-funded hunting bounties, where thousands of them were slaughtered. The very last known Tasmanian tiger, named Benjamin, died alone in a concrete zoo enclosure in 1936. Today, it stands as a haunting reminder of how quickly human actions can erase millions of years of unique evolution. Extinction is a permanent reality of our planet, whether caused by a fiery asteroid, a shifting climate, or the heavy hand of human expansion. These 8 amazing creatures are gone forever. But by studying their bones and uncovering their histories, we can learn how fragile life truly is, and perhaps how to better protect the animals that still share this earth with us today. If you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments which of these extinct animals you wish you could see in real life. See you in the next video!